Yeah, great. I've done a lot of workshops with brokers, not only those events, but a range of others over the course of the last couple of years. What we get into is, my goal is to make it real for the audience. So I have an audience of often sort of mortgage brokers, often new to the industry type brokers, and my goal is to make them comfortable right from the get-go and understand that there's a lot to learn, but if we can articulate it in a way that they can apply it to their world, so the real world, then I find that we get a better outcome. So in the sessions, I break concepts down. I strip out complexity. I look at things like financial statements, which is a common feature of all broking businesses, because any SME applying for a loan has financial statements, and I strip out the mystery for them. And often you find that all manner of people are a little bit put off by financial statements. They don't really understand what's in them or why they have them, apart from making an application for a loan or for paying tax, etc., etc. So the foundation of it is to help them to understand the concepts and the principles and have a point where they can sort of build confidence over time to be able to have meaningful conversations with their customers. There are pain points. There's a bit of a mixed bag, so it's a very broad audience. It's a broad church, the mortgage broking industry, as you can appreciate. But my experience is that it's a really easy industry to get into. So you can come out of any walk of life. You might be a former banker, or you might work for a printing company. It doesn't really matter, but you can enter this industry relatively easily. The issue for a lot of people is, right, I now walk in the door, I've hung the shingle, I've got my own business and I'm a mortgage broker. What do I do? And how do I get through the next basically 2 years? Because that's a pretty strong survival point. If you can last the first 2 years, you're likely to make it. So there's a number of things along the way that I try to explain to people, and one of them is you've really got to take some time out to work on the business. So you have to dedicate time on a regular basis for planning. You have to have a plan, and I don't really care if it's a 10-page blueprint or a 1-page business plan that just sort of captures your thoughts, but you have to plan. You need to know what your vision is. And one of the big risks that I think a lot of new to industry mortgage brokers run the risk of, or one of the big risks, is that you can become very transactional. You can just get caught up in the transactional flow, and because you're so hungry to make your business succeed, especially in those early years, you are transactional. You roll from deal to deal to deal, and you get caught in this vortex, but you're not looking beyond the next deal, and you're certainly not looking sort of 3 years down the track or 5 years down the track, or you're not turning your mind to what is the vision, what is it I want to achieve out of this change in my lifestyle. So planning, taking time out, understanding how to make money, looking at things like conversion rates and productivity measures, and tapping into your database. So I spend a lot of time talking to people about, in your database you have SME clients, and you need to bring your skill level up to the point where you can satisfy your SME client needs. And what I mean by that is that their needs extend well beyond a mortgage. And if they want a car loan or equipment finance or a commercial property or whatever the case might be, if you specialise in mortgage broking only, you then run the risk of losing that client, because they will undoubtedly go down the road to a competitor that can offer all the services, and that competitor is likely to be able to handle their mortgage business as well. So, it's very important that you bring your skill level up very early, or at the very least as part of your planning process, think about alliances. If you're not going to be an expert in all of these other capabilities, and you're probably not going to be, find someone that is and get a marriage happening. Oh, look, I would say if I had to lean on one or the other, I'd say a willingness. And you only have to look at how well all of the events are being attended. And, the Better Business Summit, you've got the Mortgage Finance Association, the Suncorp events. There is such high attendance, because what you can read and interpret from that is there is a yearning for knowledge. People really want to know more. And they also know, and I know that the advisor have published articles on this, they recognise that it's a booming industry, the commercial broking industry, so the SME market, and I think the statistic is something like within the next couple of years 50% of all loans will be handled by brokers. And so there is a willingness, to answer your question, but there's also some reservation because people lack the skill and the ability right now. So it's a bit of a process, and it seems to me that they're absolutely out there trying to build up their knowledge base by attending all these events, working with aggregators among many other things.